Hey guys, welcome to another video, and we're just gonna do a little discussion. Just kind of praising the fact, it's the big 2025, and we have gotten a lot of Sonic games in the past like 5 years, in like the past decade or so. And honestly, it's just a really fun time to be a Sonic fan, because, you know, back in the 2010s, it was a rough period just to be a just to even like Sonic back then. Now, admittedly, I wasn't that involved in that, time period because I was still in like second grade. So, admittedly, I don't know the full effects, but I do recognize that it was a rough period, and even so, I just thought it was kind of better to close off that part of my life to like hide the fact that I was a Sonic fan because of how it was perceived by the general public. And yeah, it was rough because, a lot of bad games were coming out, like Sonic Boom. That whole campaign was just a mess. It was just a complete mess. But now that we've gotten the movies and we've gotten Frontiers, as I'm playing right now, and we've gotten Shadow Generations, Movie 3, Crossroads coming out in a few days, like it is a exciting time to be a Sonic fan. With Crossroads potentially competing with Mario Kart, which is something I never thought would even be a consideration in the modern day. So yeah, it's really nice. In a way, I am earnestly very proud of Sonic Team. They have been able to just keep on rolling, just keep on making these games despite all the criticisms, despite all the backlash and everything. And it's just a fun time to just see them grow and just, really find their footing in what they're doing nowadays. With Frontiers, it felt more like an experimental period, trying to find our footing, trying to regain trust with the general audience, and just trying their best to make these games fun. So Frontiers was definitely more of an experimental type game. You could definitely feel it in its gameplay. It's a lot more open, a lot more freeing, and with the updates, they just kept improving on it, just like keep refining what didn't work, adding some new stuff along the way. And despite the criticisms of the Final Horizon, I do think that, for the most part, they achieved what they set out to do with getting all these characters playable, getting all these characters back, reprising their roles as like mainstay characters and not just putting them on the sidelines, not being afraid to show this like other side of the Sonic series where there are like character driven narratives. And we've seen that more with Shadow Generations. Like we've seen the progress of, Shadow's backstory and how it ties with the Black Arms and, Maria's past and all that, not shying away from what it actually is and, how important it is to Shadow's backstory. All of this would never have been possible like in the last decade or so. But now that it has been, because, they're paying attention. Sega is paying attention, Sonic Team's paying attention to what the general audience is, seeing in this series. They see potential in it. So they're like, okay, well, now that they see potential, we've got to make it the best that we can. Competing against Mario is, some of that. It is a factor in that, but not just to compete against like a big rival, but to also rival in quality, to get to the quality standard that we deserve in this series. And that's starting to happen with Crossroads. I did doubt that, we'd get like a perfect game anytime soon, but Crossroads is kind of looking like a perfect game, not gonna lie. With everything that was in the open network test and, the full game being released in a few days, I'm excited. I'm like really excited to see how the whole game entails. And yeah, I'm just really proud of how Sonic Team is handling the series, handling it with care. Even if it's not the exact direction that fans want, and obviously fans are going to be complaining back and forth about the direction of the series and what is not a good direction. But for the most part, I feel like they are handling it in the right way. Paying tribute to these characters, respecting their backstories, keeping the canon consistent for the most part. For the most part, I say, because it's hard to make everything canon in a cohesive way, especially with this damn series. But they are trying. They are definitely trying their best to make everything make sense, and it's just nice to see, After several years of just completely forgetting and disregarding like the whole series because, it wasn't received that well, and, all these characters, all these dumb side stories, all these very melodrama kind of narratives, just like seeping its way into the series when all it was just a bunch of cartoon characters. It's nice to see that, you know, as time has gone by, you know, people have started to understand and respect this part of the series. Even fans that were always, you know, with this side of the series, they're getting recognized. They're getting the stuff that they wanted. Maybe not in the exact way, but they are, you know, getting it in some form of way. I think that's still really cool to see. So yeah, that's kind of it. Just, you know, praising the fact that, you know, the Sonic franchise is in a pretty good state right now. I'll definitely upload some sort of video when Crossworlds releases, especially when the demo releases. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed and stay safe, everyone.